Thank you very much. How are we doing, Dubai? We're good? Good. First of all, thank you everybody and thank you Realty 2.0 for giving me this opportunity to be a keynote speaker here today in Dubai. It's always hard to present to industry experts, and I'm honored to be here amongst all of you guys, the gem of industry. It's been a great 2 days. We've been learning a lot from contractors' point of view, from the client point of view, from consultant point of view, from medical, from Bitcoin, blockchain. It's been amazing. So I want to thank Realty 2.0 for hosting this and giving us the opportunity. So let's get to the topic. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. My talk is basically going to be about how lessons unlearned is the topic, but these are the lessons that we've learned, but we learned them the hard way. And we learned these lessons, but we don't want to put them into an academic sort of a way that these are the lessons that we learned. So I'll try my best to tap on what I've learned in my journey of the last 10 years as being the director of the whole soul of a design and build company. So here's the basic gist of what my talk is going to be about. So the all in all topic is the lessons I learned, the challenges we face while the project has been delayed. So now the project is delayed, everybody's going crazy. What are the challenges that we actually face if you want to jot them down one by one? And then doing that, how to make sure that the client is satisfied. So let's go to slide 1. So we've been talking about planning this whole last 3 days, everybody. Mike Tyson once said, everybody has a plan. Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth or on the face. Once you get punched in the face, there is no more plans. All your plans are destroyed. I don't know if anybody's ever been sparring or not, but I've been punched on the face, on the chest, and a lot of more places than that. But every single day in business, when we make a loss or we're in a risk situation, that's a punch in the face, right? And how well we react to that punch is basically called experience. And so whatever happens after the punch in the face is also a plan, but how well we execute that plan depends on how many times we've been punched on the face. And I'll try to brief you on how to react once we get punched on the face. And we spoke of experience, and you know what they say about experience is, as I've said, put it on my slide, the person who learns from his mistakes is smart. But the person who learns from other people's mistakes is intelligent. So you don't want to make all those losses that I've made in the last 10 years. That's why I'm doing this talk, to brief you from the builder's point of view what not to do. We all know what to do. We know we want to focus, we want to have a motivated team, we have blah, blah, blah. These are the things that we don't want to do. So, unlearn or learn the hard way, lesson number 1, accept that you've been hit. Accept it. That you've been punched in the face. You've been punched in the mouth, your nose is bleeding, tooth is broken. What are you going to do now? Accept it. And connected to that is the second one, understand that it's okay to be hit. You're not God. You're not an angel. We're all human beings. So what happens is we deliver one project, second project, third project, back-to-back successes. So we think we're immortal or we can't make mistakes. And that's the overconfidence is what kills you. It's not bad to be confident, but overconfidence is something that can be cancerous to leaders. So we have to understand that it's okay to be hit. Take a step back, relax. We've been hit. What are you going to do now? The next step, what you're going to do is you want to realize or pinpoint where you've been hit. Was it the procurement that failed? Was it the logistics that failed? Was it the engineering that failed? Was it the planning that failed? Was it the finance department that failed? Was it the client who made the mistake? Was it the consultant's fault? This is from a builder's perspective. So there's so many things in a project's body, like human body, which organ failed. So you have to realize and pinpoint that, and then you have to act. The blue, that's why I didn't put any more text over there, so you guys can focus on the act. Look, if we delay that fourth box and don't act, or we do the flight or fright, or we try to put our face in the ground and think everything's going to be okay by itself, no, it's not going to happen. So we have to act there and then. Every single minute that we're delaying by not acting is just causing you more damages, is causing your reputation going down the drain, it's causing you financial losses, it's putting up your overheads. Lots of things are going on because of your inability to act. So once you've realized all that, you gotta act. Then, the hard-learned lesson number 2. During that whole scenario of crisis mode and everybody's going crazy and whatnot, and there's blame game, everybody's saying it was the finance, it was the consultant, it was delayed approvals, it was this, it was material delivery, it's COVID, blah, blah, blah. During all of that, as a leader, what we have to make sure is to focus on the words we choose on those days. Everybody in this room has been through hard days. That's why you guys are here. Nobody can be successful without hard days. And I'm sure every one of us has had those sleepless nights, mornings we don't want to wake up and go to work, days where you don't want to face people, you don't want to be with family, you just want to be alone. So those are the days that I'm talking about right now. Those days, the language, that's the differentiation between a leader and a follower. That those are the days when you want to be positive. You're going to get out of the situation regardless. That time is going to end. That's the law of nature. The time is moving, the clock is ticking. But how did you react in that situation is what matters. So, there is the crisis mode language. Chirag did this, Raj did that, he did this, he did that. And then there's a language where we say, every challenge is an opportunity. Let's do it. Realize that we're in this together. It's okay. It's we. Where did we go wrong? Where did we as an organization make the mistake? And that's when your people under you are going to start admiring you. Not saying it, but inside their heart. So that's when the respect for you is going to start building, because they're going to know, the person who made the mistake knows he made the mistake. But when you don't pinpoint to him in the middle of the meeting conference table, is when you're going to win his respect. And when you're going to tell him that we're in this together. So that takes me to connected to this is the next vibe. So your positive language, look, you can be harsh on them, you can pinpoint, you can blame, you can degrade them, and they're still going to do the work because there's a contract, right? But as a leader, you want to make sure that they do the work by wanting to do the work, not because they're obligated to do the work. There's a difference, and that's when you see the productivity go up. So the vibe, positive lingo, positive energy, results in positive results. There's so many books about being positive, oozing positive energy out of you, that brings the whole circle of positivity around you. Those are not just textbooks. That's reality. And everybody, in the last 3 days I've been here, everybody has, even Mr. Narendra, he spoke of the mindset. You know, it's just not textbook or presentation PowerPoint material. He's owning 17 companies, and when they asked him what was the secret, he said, the mindset. So mindset is the vibe, no matter what religion you're from. Every book talks about being positive, being thankful. So we underrate the impact of positive energy. So that's what you gotta be. And look, everybody says, I'm a very straight up person. I'm very good to the people who are good to me, and I'm very bad to the people that are bad to me. I don't think that's a very good leadership skill. You have to be good to the people that are good to you. But what makes you a leader is to be good to the people that are bad to you also. So those are the times that you've got to act like that, because everyone else reacts to bad things badly. Number 3, identify. Now, I'm not saying be all lovey-dovey and oh my God, we are all in this, we. Having said that, you have to make sure that you identify where we went wrong. Identify, but don't blame them, at least not yet. We need to know who made the mistake where. And not saying in those words, but we have to take corrective action. You take the blame. It's like a plane is crashing, you're the pilot. You can't start blaming people that you did this, you did that, you did that. The plane is crashing and you are the pilot. You have to do every single thing to make sure that everybody on your team supports you to have that plane land safely on the runway. So, you gotta identify who made the mistakes and where they made the mistake. and then only can you take the corrective action, which is going to be discussed on my next slide. Unlearned lesson number 3, be transparent. Now that we've been through the first 2 slides, everybody knows what's going on and everything. Now sit with your team and we have to be transparent. I've been through projects, lost a lot of millions because of delay penalties, because of lots of things that went on. And what I learned from in the last 9 to 10 years of executing projects, back to back, back to back, back to back, this is my summary of my little bit of lessons that I learned. There's more experienced people in this room, and they might second that. In a situation like that, you gotta be transparent. Now, what's happened is happened, it's behind us. The project is delayed, we're in a penalty situation. We gotta be transparent with the team now, that what happens from now, you're gonna be facing the consequences for it. Whatever happened, don't worry about it. But from here on, we must have a unified goal, a unified plan, and if you make the mistakes, this is the result that's gonna happen. Again, the second point is a repeat point, to be positive. This is not basically being positive, I wanted to say we want to be more paternalistic with the team, because I feel when we're too strict, they don't really open up to us. They don't tell us the key problems. By being open to communication, by not being that hard on them, that leaving that one window open for them to come and tell us the actual problem, where it happened. You know, the problem could be as small as a labor dispute in the labor camp and the whole labor doesn't want to come and they're demotivated. You know, anything, it could be anything. I'm just throwing stuff out there. But that window, we must leave it open in a crisis situation. In a normal day, it could be different. But in the crisis situation, we have to be open to communication so that they can come and be honest with you without thinking that they're going to be penalized for it. So that's what paternalistic leadership is, that they think that they're doing the things right, but actually you are. And last but not the least, task list. Don't underestimate the power of a task list. You have to write down, unfortunately, you're in the leadership position, but in a crisis situation, sometimes you have to cut through levels of management and do things yourself. So you have to write down what you have to do in the day. I've learned that task list is the magic, it's the backbone of every single project that I've executed. To know what to do and who to assign that to. And then just follow up after every couple hours or every day or weekly or monthly or bi-weekly, however you want to do it. So that brings me to the second part of my presentation, or my talk. What are the challenges that we face in actually on ground mitigating a schedule, that the project is late and we're trying to get it back on track? So what are the challenges that we face? Challenge number 1, I'm sure you guys guessed it, how to handle that angry client. He's oozing fire from his body, from flames from his mouth. How are you gonna handle that? So a couple of things that I learned in my experiences. Number 1, we have to conduct high-level meetings with the client with different faces. I put that in red because the same faces the client mindset is that these are the people because of whom the project got late. They don't know what's happening in the back end. So I've realized, and it's worked for me, if we not change the whole team, have the same team but put them in the back end, but the frontliners must be changed because the client needs to see fresh people. He needs to see that you've taken some action. So we need to conduct higher level meeting in your organization with the client to make them feel that you're serious and that things have gone to a level above the project level. So that's one thing. Secondly, in those meetings when we must provide them with written assurances. So a short-term mitigated schedule, a long-term mitigated schedule, showing them how we're gonna reach from point A to point B. And then the last point there is, whatever you tell them, you have to do a weekly or bi-weekly meeting with the clients to show them that, look, we're actually achieving this, what we've promised you. It's not just bare promises to make sure that you're not angry for the next 2 hours. It's actually we follow up and we follow through by a weekly meeting with the new faces on the project team, making sure that the client has been updated of your progress because he is extremely angry and he has to see things getting back on track. Challenge number 2, reallocation of resources to the project, because the project could be late for shortage of material, COVID, shortage of manpower, incompetent project team, many reasons for the project to get delayed. But now we're not discussing that because that's a whole huge topic. What we're discussing is that the project is late. What are we doing now, and what's the biggest challenge? So you want to put more manpower on the project, you're going to put more materials on the project, and you're going to put additional competent project management team. The whole structure of the project. So why did I put those three in red? Because if you just do two of those and you don't do the last one, or any three, they are prerequisites of each other. If you put more manpower on the project and more materials on the project, but the team is the same, the result is going to be negative because it's just going to be headless chickens on the project. If you put a good team, throw all the materials on site, but there's no manpower to execute the work, again, and vice versa. So those are the three things you need to focus really on: the materials, the manpower, and the team to be on site and giving you results on a daily basis. Next, we have to focus on the dependencies and try to reduce them. So what are the dependencies of the project? There's a civil defense permit, there's a DEWA permit, there's external factors of the project that you have to focus on. So you got to assign a team to make sure that those dependencies are reduced. So while you're focusing on the project aspect, the external factors are being tackled properly. You don't want to hand over a project and at the end say, DEWA didn't give us the connection. So those are the things that we need to take care of as a separate team. Prime focus on the critical path of the activities. You need to tell the client, but the client understands that the project is late. He just wants to see what you're going to do about it. So you got to be critical path. For those who are not from the construction, for this table, for example, is the four legs and the tabletop. That's the purpose of this table, to have a tabletop and carry those water bottles. The underpiece is not critical path. So you can focus on that later. You got to hand over the project. You got to do things first that matter to the client. So if it's a retail store, he wants to sell clothes. Just make sure that things you're doing are enough to have the store to start selling clothes. And then later you can do the beautification and the cosmetics and all of that because you're already in a penalty. So you want to do firefighting now. You don't want to make things worse. You don't want to focus on the underpiece because it's going to take the same amount of money, same amount of energy, same amount of manpower. You're already short, you're already lagging. So why not focus on the tabletop and four legs? That's where we make the mistake sometimes. We stick to the scope, we stick to the BOQ. No, you got to cut edges. You got to reach the main vision of the client. So you have to understand those things. Well, that's what's worked for me so far. And notify the client that, look, I'm going to bring the underpiece later because you need the tabletop. So that's what's happening. And last but not the least, and I can't speak enough of it, timely invoicing. What happens is when we're in a delay situation, we're shy to bill the client because they're already angry. They don't want to see bills coming in. But no matter how hard it is, you got to hire a sweet talker to get your bills certified. It's the key. If you don't have timely invoicing, the project is going to get delayed further. Challenge number 3, time is money. So why did I put time as money? Is because until things normalize, the top management has to allocate time. You have to personally be involved in that project until the emergency situation is cleared. So a bit of micromanagement, I know we all hate that word, but when you're in an emergency situation, you got to do things you don't like. You have to step out of your comfort zone and do things that you don't want to do because you're in an emergency situation. So, and the challenge basically is to manage that time because basically your time is for other things to do, your actual job description, but you're not doing that. So time has an opportunity cost. If you're investing time on this project, something else is getting delayed. To manage that is one of the biggest challenges that I've faced because I'm doing someone else's job because they failed, right? But we don't want to tell them that. Challenge number 4. Challenge number 4 is one of the toughest things to do. Now this client is angry, he's fuming with anger, but we still want to retain him and we want to keep him as a repeat client. So despite all his anger, us as business developers or business owners, we want to make sure that this client, in construction, you don't have a lot of clients. Every big construction company will have like 10, 15, 20 clients and they are repeat customers. 70%, 75% business is repeat. So you don't want to lose this chunk of your revenue just because one project was delayed. So what do you do to make sure that this client gives you repeat business? Sincerity. First thing. And sincerity is something that you cannot write on a piece of paper and give him. Sincerity, he will see himself in your effort, in your language, and in your action on ground. Because you've probably done a very good presentation to get that project, but it's not happening on ground. So he needs to see that. And he might not say anything, but clients are smarter than us. That's why they're the clients and we're the vendors, right? So we want to make sure that we're sincere in our effort. B, transparency. Even if it's bad news, share it with the client. Glass walls were supposed to come, they broke on the way there, tell him. Be straight up. We have to be honest with the client. Look, he's human just like us. So we want to explain them what happened, why it happened, and what you're doing to get the new glass panels on site. This is just an example. So transparency, sincerity. Number 3, your response time in this state of emergency. If in a regular day, client sends you an email, and he's probably expecting the reply after an hour, hour and a half. In an emergency situation, the response time is 5 minutes, bro. You can't, after 5 minutes, he's gonna throw you a WhatsApp, and after those 5 minutes, he's gonna start calling you. So we gotta make sure that our responses are really fast. You assign someone professional who is gonna respond with the end result, who knows everything about the project. So the response time and flexibility. Now, just because the project is late doesn't mean it's not a project. Construction projects we spoke in the last 3 days have variation orders, all of them. So this is still a construction project. So there's gonna be a lot of variations while we're fighting with them to, fighting against all the odds to be on track. So once a variation comes, that's your opportunity. That's where you show flexibility to the client. You tell them, all right, I understand the project is late. This variation, I'm gonna take it on me because that variation is way less than the penalty that you're looking at. So if you do this variation for free and win his trust, you might have a 10% chance to not get penalized at the end because we all know we're in a delay situation. And last but not the least, honestly, part D. If you don't remember anything from this presentation, just take this home, guys. If the project is late, don't compromise on the quality. Quality, quality, quality. Even if it gets delayed by 2 more days, or 3 more days, or a week. Remember, we as construction companies or builders are dealing with real estate department of somebody who has a bigger vision than construction. So for example, if it's a hotel, we're dealing with their construction engineering level. But the hotel owner, when he comes, he wants to see quality. So if he's happy and his team is happy, his construction departments are happy. But if the project is late, they always say, you're really hungry, you go to a burger joint, he makes you wait half an hour, and you're super angry. But when the burger comes and if it's amazing, you forget about that half an hour like that, and that's exactly what's happening here. When you deliver the project, even if it's late, they're like, wow, okay, he did it late, Chirag did it late, but the quality was amazing. Next time I'll give it to him, but I'll try to manage time somehow, right? So please, this is the most important thing. Do not compromise on the quality, especially if the project is late. That's where we make the mistake sometimes. It's late, so just do it and get out of it. We're already in a penalty. No, we have to see 10 years ahead. Next. All right, this is my last slide of the talk. The biggest lesson that I've learned, guys, and this is a little bit spiritual. It's not ground reality, and it's tried and tested. And I'm sure everybody in this room will second that. And that is giving back. Giving back to the community. From your profits, charity, helping the poor, people who will never be able to do anything for you ever. Selflessness. And ask yourself the question every morning or every night before you go to bed. How is the humanity benefiting from your existence or from your profits? Because it's not by chance that Bill Gates and Warren Buffett have been in the top 10 richest people list for how many years? They have the biggest charitable foundations running also. So this is the rule of God. No matter what your faith is, Gita, Bible, Quran, everywhere we read, it says we have to serve the humanity. And this is the rule of God. If we help His people, He's gonna help you through all the mitigation of schedules, from all the delay penalties, from all of the unlearned lessons will become learned, and you will see the universe work for you. Thank you very much, everybody. This brings me to the end of my presentation. If you have any questions, please. Thank you. Thank you so much. Please.
I like what you said about community involvement in the community and how that helps your business. I think everybody here could benefit from your explanation of things that you've done in your personal business that have increased your likeness to the community, because that's important.
Thank you so much. So that was a comment, right?
It was a question.
Okay, if you can just phrase it.
I would like you to explain some of the things that you've done for the community and the benefit that it's had, because I think that's a piece realtors miss all the time.
Okay. You know, there's two ways I can answer that, because we are people whose belief is, you know, we'll say it's 2 meters by 2 meters, very small. So I prefer not to really talk about the good things that we do. We try to keep it a secret, but that's why I kept the slide to the last one at a bare minimum. But I've realized honestly that sometimes, somewhere in construction, we feel that angels come and do our work, and that's where you realize that these are probably prayers of a poor person somewhere who's praying for you, and you know, God is sending angels to get your things done. And we try our best to accommodate whichever request comes to our door. Really, really scared to say no to anybody. So that's one thing I'll just throw out there, and then we can discuss further if you have any issues about that. Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah. Yeah. So, whatever, really, I agree with you, because it's not a question to you, but I endorse what you are told about the transparency and all when project is failed. My own experience, I'm telling.
Amazing.
Where a project which we could not able to complete in time, for various reasons, I don't want to go into the details. A company is having a 30 years of experience which never failed in a contract in 30 years. 30th year, after having so much strength of the organization, we failed to complete a simplest of simple project. That also not a complexity. But with our, whatever the points you have noted about sincerity, transparency, and all are there in my company, contract terminated, contractor felicitated. You can just see about it. It happened to us.
Right.
So I'm happy about what you have told. So it is applicable. That's what I wanted to endorse that. That's the reason.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It is. And if you are from the construction sector, you could probably relate to every single slide.
I never heard of that. Contract terminated and contractor felicitated.
Right. You know,
so that's power of honesty and sincerity.
Definitely. Definitely. If you wouldn't have gone to that stage if we were transparent with the client throughout, every single day. Where I said micromanagement, that's what it was. You have to hire somebody that and daily updates, minutely updates the client. As long as he's on board and he feels that you're taking the action that you need, there will be never a contract termination. Because contract termination is also a cost to the client, right? And it's a headache. It's time wasted because there's legalities involved in that. So nobody wants to go down that road unless it's the last straw. Anybody else? Think we're good? Thank you, Sam. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you, Dubai. Thank you, Realty. Thank you, guys.